Alright, so we're going to go over a little bit of color and playing, and want to start with the C scale, C major, and that's basically all the white keys. Like that, like start from right here and go up to there, and that's a 7, that's a 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the reason why we call them that is because, well, geez, you start from the beginning, go right here, you got numbers going up. And anyways, this is like, most of you know this basic chord right here. It's a C chord. And we'll show you how to add a little color to it, or kind of embellish it, make it all nice and sound pretty. So you have this chord, and I like to add the 4 to it, and you can see it, or you can hear it sounds better, but you can see it looks like these 4 notes being played on the keys rather than these 3. And if you can't tell, the color adds a little bit more interest in you playing, and you kind of keep the 2 here because, you know, you call it that 2. Put the 2 there, and it sounds like that. So we call that an add 4 chord, an add 2 chord, and that's a little bit of color right there. You put it up to the 6, and it sounds like this. And if you put it up to 7, it sounds like this. So if you can't tell, you know, the basic chord is, you know, 1, 2, 3, so 1, 3, 4, 5, you know, so 1, 3, 5, and then you can add the 2 and 4, 6 and the 7, and basically instead of playing 3 notes, you're playing 4, and that's basically, you know, you could add five notes with one hand, you know, you got 5 fingers. So, you know, if you wanted a C, add 2, 4 or something like that, you know, it sounds a little muddy because they're all squished together, but, you know, you could play it like that. But if you have this chord right here, you can, what's called the 9, you know, I go over what's 1 through 7, but once you get to 8, which is an octave, most of you know, you can add a 9. So you take the root, put it up an octave, you know, and take the octave, take the root when it's an octave above the root, you know, and it's called the 8. So you take the 8, go up 2 half steps, and it's the 9. You know, I learned it. You take the root, go up 2 half steps, and you push it up an octave. But it's kind of like the 2, except it's a 9. And I don't have enough fingers to play, but all at the same time, though, you know, it sounds like that. And then you have a sharp 11 right here, and the reason why you have a sharp 11 right here is because, well, if you go to the root and you go up 11 times, you get a sharp 11, you know, and that's an interval. But you can, you know, you can push it down here, and then, you know, they're very muddy because this note's outside the major scale, and the reason why is because, well, it's just like that. And so the 13 one like that is you know, it's 13 keys above, so we can count it. Just use your ears and count the notes, you know. I doubt any of you can count that fast. And so we'll go up to a 13, and, you know, it's kind of like 6, but it's 13. And the reason why is, you know, is because it's the 13th note above the root. And so you just add a bunch of color like that. And so you get this chord, but then you get that sound, but then you can add these kind of sounds like that, and it looks complicated because it's a bunch of notes, but once you get the hang of it, you know, it can really help you add a little bit of embellishments and kind of pretty sounds, and you know, you start from the root, and you get your colors, and yeah. And just a little bonus tip, you take the root right here, and then you can play the chord up here, and you kind of keep going from the root to the chord, you know, and back and forth. And that's a cool little playing thing. So, you know, you take, if you take your favorite sound, you know, say I like the 7. So you take the root, and then you play, you know, the 7 chord up here. So, you know, play the root, and you got a nice little song going on, you know. And you play a little bit of stuff, you know. And anyways, I just wanted to share that little trick, and basically take a little bit harmony, take a little bit of basic stuff, and then you realize, you know, well, I can add a whole bunch more to this, you know, and it makes a whole bunch of sense. And the reason why is because, well, geez, like, you have 3 notes, you add a little more, you know, if they're the right notes, you get the right harmonies putting together, and, you know, they're kind of fun to play with, the harmonies and the colors and the you know, you can call them what you like, but they have different names. So, you know, we call that a major 7 chord, you know, these 4 notes. Call that a C add 9. Call this a C, you know, add 2 or sus2, and then actually this one right here, the little tense note, I don't really like these, but you can kind of use those if you're trying to paint a picture. But, you know, I like the nice pure tones, you know, to add 4, and you know, you can play around with it, and these are just the basic shapes. But yeah, that's a little overview of how to add some color, and this is all for any major chord. So I know I started on C, but you can kind of start on any major chord and kind of take this formula, you know, and say, well, you know, I got these 3 notes, and I can go 2 above the root and add that, and that's the add 2, and I can add 1 above the 3rd, like, and I get the 4th, and, you know, I can go 2 above the 5th, and, you know, I get that, the 6th, well, actually it's with the 5th, like that, and, you know, I take this, the 5th, and 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, 4 notes above the 5th, you get a major 7, and the 9 is, I know I'm going over this real fast, but you take the root and you go 2 half steps above the root and up an octave, and you get the 9. And then if you take 2 half steps above the 3rd and put it up an octave, you get the sharp 11. And then if you get a major chord like this, and you put 2 keys above the 5th and up an octave, you get the 13. And that's just for emphasis, you know, color and stuff. I like the resolution of the chords, you know. Usually when you have a bunch of tension in it, like stuff like this, you know, it sounds good to go back to just the pure, you know, C chord, you know, because after hearing all that color, you know, it's like, oh, well, that's a major 7, and, you know, that's nice, and, you know, this is a whatchamacallit, a little color chord, and, you know, well, that sounds kind of cool, and that sounds pretty complex and stuff. and then, you know, back to something that resolves into like a pure tone. So it's a lot about adding color, but you know, when you're making your compositions and stuff, you know, it's good to keep in mind that just the basics is, you know, sometimes the most important stuff. And that's kind of what I wanted to teach about. And you know, there's a lot to learn about music, and this is just one thing. And you know, I'll probably go over it again. I just wanted to let you know about this little lesson and see how you kind of build these things. And it's kind of an interesting concept, and you can use it in your music. And yeah, I guess maybe we'll go over some more advanced stuff next time, just so you kind of get the gist of the, you know, raising just a resolution, like a basic chord to kind of like add to or something like that. And you know, it's kind of fun sometimes. If you're in the right mood, you can get the right color and it sounds real cool. But yeah, have a good one.